right, hello. Thank you for tuning in for the DLC 9 War of the Light Part 1 live stream from concept to game. And my name is Jens Anderson, otherwise known as Spittle. I'm the Senior Creative Director on DC Universe Online, and I am here with Richie Romero. Say hi.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, you are so welcome, sir. And you are the art director
That's correct.
On the team now,
Yep.
which is awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And Richie's been doing a lot of work on the DLCs with the environment and character artists, special effects guys, and animators, working with the design team to try and bring the designs and the visions that they have for this thing to life in the game. And we wanted to share a little bit about that with you today and that whole process.
That's right.
Okay, cool. Meps is also with us. You can hear his heavy breathing coming from...
Hey guys.
Yeah. Is that you or...
That's not my heavy breathing.
Okay. Is that Richie? Are you a mouth breather, Richie? Okay, no, don't put it down that far. No one will be able to hear you.
There we go.
Okay. All right. So Meps is actually in the Fortress of Spittlitude, not in the Meps Cave, right? Because this is actually the Meps Cave now. This little area is now your office.
I am in the fortress. It's scary, gotta say.
Isn't it? Hey,
Yeah.
you know, it takes a very special kind of fortitude to hang out in there. But you're welcome to it. So don't trash the place while I'm gone. I'll know if you did something bad.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to show you tonight, DLC 9, we've been talking about this for a really long time, War of the Light. Look here, like a floating head. Sit up, sir. Come on. There we go. Let's see a little bit more
Hold
of you.
on. Let me get the booster chair.
Yeah, right. Do you need a booster?
I need some yellow books or something.
Okay, that's better.
All
There
right.
you go. So we're going to be talking to you tonight about really what the vision of the whole thing was, and how we started going about visualizing it and translating that into the in-game assets. Maybe give you guys a little idea about how the process works. We're going to cover some things with the environments. We're going to cover some things with the characters. And that's
a little bit
pretty
of concept.
and we're going to show you concept and
Right.
then show you the actual final results of that in the game.
That's right.
So let's get started. First of all, War of the Light Part 1, you probably read the creative director letter that I put out today on the forums, and probably many of the interviews that are coming out about it. It takes place in an all-new, re-envisioned metropolis. People have been asking a lot of questions about that. What exactly does that mean? Well, we're going to show you right now. So let's actually get to that. And where am I here? Where is the game? There it is. Here's the game. Okay. So here we are in this new metropolis. We basically changed the time of day here. What changes did you guys make to this environment visually?
Yeah, so basically what we did here is we did a head map swap, which is we added Mogo and Ranks up in the skybox. Are we unplugged here?
I don't know. Plug that thing in down there, see if it works.
Oh no, technical
It's not working.
difficulties.
Yeah, controller's not working.
It's alright,
It's
we'll
alright.
wing it.
I'll move around this way. It's a little less cinematic, but what are you gonna do? So slight time of day change here, right?
Yep.
All right. Some stars. Go ahead. You
You want
were
to give
saying...
a little fiction behind it?
Sure. So what's going on here is there are these strange prismatic mists that have appeared in the city itself. So you can see here, this is the Topaz Mist, and it's right near the starting areas for the villains. This is the villain stronghold. You can see Amon-Sur running around here. Here's an actual hologram of Ranks that appears and disappears once in a while and you can teleport up to Ranks, which we will do later, not right now. We will do that later. But you can see that there are these mists. So here's like one of the Topaz ones. We'll go down over in this area over here. Let me actually get moving with a little more speed. You'll be able to see an emerald mist. Here's one right here. There's an azure one in the background. So all these different mists are sort of rolling through the city, and they are affecting the civilian populace in very strange ways. They're actually becoming more willful and determined, or exhibiting fear. They're going into rages if they're in the crimson mist. So all the content for the War of the Light is sort of spilling out onto the streets here. So you can see that. Now, this fact that the mist is here and something's going on with the emotional spectrum has led the cores to come here. We're introducing the Blue Lantern core, already have the Red, Green, and Sinestro core in the game, and major things are happening. And so you can see here Mogo has moved from his position in deep space and is actually in Earth's orbit right now. And you can see the lanterns up in the sky up there bombarding him, having battles with each other. And there's Ranks up there. He's getting hit by various attacks. Blink bombs will be going off on these guys, and there's just big battle going on up in the skies up here. So you see the Sinestro Corps symbol on Ranks and the Green Lantern symbol on Mogo. Let's talk about these assets right here and what we kind of went for with realizing Mogo, because there were a lot of different versions of Mogos that we saw in the comics. Like some had like the white clouds,
right?
It, you know.
Yes. So basically, with the Mogo, we really went for something that was traditionally iconic from the comics. You'll see this asset as well in your layer.
Yeah, there's a base item, a kind of a Mogo globe, right?
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
And
so,
a lot of go ahead. Go ahead.
So one of the biggest challenges we had in here was this was a kind of a new tech for us. We're calling it a head map swap, and this is going to give us an opportunity later on to essentially change certain things within the environment.
Yeah, we use this with our seasonal stuff, you know.
Right.
So when you see the decorations appear in the city, that's using the head map tech. And what we're doing is we're taking that technology and adapting it a little for our use with our DLCs, because we want to get more reuse out of Metropolis and Gotham City. They're two of the most important locations in the DC universe,
Right.
and the way we have them set up at launch is really kind of, you know, cementing them into a certain state. And we're using the head map technology. We're able to change subtle things about the cities to kind of reskin them and give them a whole new theme.
Yeah, it's a really, really powerful tech.
And you know, time of day change here, as you can see, little what would you call this? Dusk, twilight? What's the mood you were going for?
I would say it's definitely more dusk.
Okay. Yeah, you can kind of see some stars coming in over there, and then the other side of the city. Let me actually go up a little bit here. You can see a little bit more of the sun setting in the background, so just a slight change kind of in the time of day itself. There's the sun kind of peeking out from behind the clouds, and you get some lens flares once in a while as you come in, depending on the angle. So here you go. And now all the content has been removed from the city itself. All of the old content is not here. Now, that's not to say that the environment has completely changed, right? Our head map technology doesn't let us right now unbottle the city. We do have some restrictions and constraints there. Can you talk about those a little bit?
Yeah, well, currently we're very limited because it does have to fit within memory. So we're very limited on what we can and can't swap. We're looking to potentially allow a little bit more in the future, but currently we are limited to a certain scope, so we're trying to get the most bang for our buck out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to tell more stories in these iconic locations by using the head map tech. So we have some long-term goals to try and you know, get pristine versions of the city where gorillas haven't permanently destroyed the boardwalk, or you know, there isn't, you know, we can actually unbottle the Daily Planet. Those kind of things are things we hope to do in the future. Okay, so here we can see some of the content going on. You can see that there's bombardment happening from the skies above, meant to be coming from Mogo and Ranks itself. And there are various missions that you do in the operations that take place in the city streets. I'm not trying to focus too much on the content going on in here right now, so if I'm in an area that seems kind of sparse, please forgive me. I'm just really trying to show you the environment. This is about the environment itself. And Mogo was done to give it more of a realistic kind of planet feel.
That's right.
So you can see the reason someone was asking earlier today for some screenshots that they saw on the forums, why is Mogo blue? Thought he was a Green Lantern. Well, there are a lot of different versions we were talking about. What we wanted to do was represent one of the ones we found from the comics that really had this key, really cool look to it. You can see the rivers and things like that, and inlets that are letting out into the sea and going into the canyons itself, and that's what's shaping the different land masses. So that's actually ocean on there. We wanted to treat him more like you could see the surface of the planet, and there was land and ocean, not just like everything covered in clouds conveniently to kind of form this Green Lantern symbol. Actually have the structure in the rock itself of Mogo. So I'm hoping once there's these cool things, this little touch that happens in here where when you're walking around, once in a while a ring will come down and scan you. So I'm hoping that'll happen before we have to go up to the command centers. But doesn't look like one's gonna kind of come find me. Maybe we'll get lucky later when we're looking around and stuff. So we don't really have any concept for this area, I don't think, right?
No.
No. Well, let's stick with environments. How
Sure.
about we head up to one of the locations, maybe Mogo itself.
Sure.
But take a look at the concept first.
Yeah, let's take a look at the
Okay.
concept first.
All right. Let's go over to our screen over here and look at our environment concept. Okay. Let's look at the main chamber of Mogo itself. So why don't you talk about what these concepts mean to your team and why you approach them the way you do?
Yeah, so basically what we typically do is we start off with a very high-level mood shot, and this is kind of what you see here. This was a kind of a new technique we're trying out. It's a composition of different photographs kind of combined and rapidly collaged into to making this beautiful concept you guys see here.
So just to give a mood, and a lot of this wasn't necessarily hand drawn, like you said. It was using like photo reference to kind of create a sense of scene and space as a conversation starter.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, there is a lot of talent. You know, even though we derive from photos and reference, it still takes a quality artist in order to pull off something to this magnitude. This is just a great process for them to expedite their process, but they still have to have an eye for quality.
But there's still a lot of detail that's left to the imagination here, for sure. The actual column that you guys are seeing in the center with the energy, the green energy, you can kind of see this form of a ring there. It's a little blurry and diffused out because it's just meant to be, like you said, a mood piece. But this is like Mogo's power ring. So our goal here was to create like a central hub on Mogo that actually featured Mogo's power ring. It would be a public place for characters to kind of players to come and gather as heroes during their War of the Light content and the various operations that they were doing. There are some other locations on Mogo that we experimented with as well. For example, there's this one called the Gravitational Fulcrum. This is something we're going to visit actually in later DLCs. This is in the trilogy. This location isn't featured yet in the current trilogy. However, this one is the Emotional Lodestone.
Right.
Creative concept behind this. I talked with you guys and I said what I'm really looking to create here is we had to kind of really get creative and make up some spaces that weren't necessarily part of Mogo in the comics, but we need places for people to go on ranks and on Mogo to have objectives and things like that. One of the ones we came up with was his Gravitational Fulcrum, and that's how Mogo changes the surface of the planet. This one, the Emotional Lodestone, for those of you who don't know, you might not actually know this, Richie. I'll nerd educate you right now. Yeah, you ready?
Yep.
I'm gonna drop some nerd knowledge on you. This is basically a room where Mogo is the one who guides the rings to their new bearers. So and the fact that we're having the War of the Light going on here, and you'll see it ambiently in the city, lanterns are dying all the time, so rings are without bearers and they need to be replaced so that they can have more troops for the War of the Light. So this is the chamber where Mogo actually guides the rings to their new bearers, and we called it the Emotional Lodestone. Lodestone being something that is kind of magnetic and compass-like, and obviously the emotions of the emotional spectrum tying in. I thought it turned out pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely fun to work on. I mean, these are definitely examples. For example, what Jens had just mentioned, we'll have conversations over stuff like this, whether it's in a meeting room or over the water cooler, and from there we'll kind of create a mood piece like you guys see here. And a lot of times it's just rapid prototyping in order to see if we struck a nerve in a good way or a bad way.
Yeah, sometimes it's a bad way, right?
Yeah. But it's a rapid fashion of us kind of getting an idea on whether or not we are hitting the nail on the head there.
Yep, absolutely. So let's actually take a look at a couple of these spaces right now. I'm going to switch over to the game screen, and so you guys can see what's going on in the game. So here's where players enter into the Mogo instance. And Meps, thank you so much for making a villain for me to go in here and see all these guys. Did you do that on purpose?
I actually made you a hero and a villain.
I know, but I'm logged in as a villain right now, and I don't want to
Well, I
log
just figured
out.
you would like to be evil. So.
Oh, see how he regards me? This is the kind of love-hate, hate-love, hate-hate relationship we have with each other.
Oh no, I'm just looking out for your best interests. You know, it's what you like.
I can tell. Okay, let me see here. I am going to just make sure I toggle hate. Did you already toggle hate on this guy?
Nope, you better do that.
Okay, let me
Or
do
else
that.
you'll
Yeah,
die.
I don't want to get creamed by all the characters that are in here. Okay, hate is off. I'll do God mode as well, just to be safe. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look at Mogo. So, talk about some of the elements we're seeing here.
Yeah, so basically, what we kind of derive from here is our primary inspiration was kind of otherworldly. So, what we tried to shoot for was underwater, coral life, aquatic life. We really tried to incorporate some elements, you know, whether it's with shape language or color, in order to get some of these types of shapes within Mogo.
So kind of bioluminescent lighting was a theme, keeping it very
Exactly.
organic, right? And you guys got really creative with this kind of alien-like vegetation, fungus, and other spiky things.
Right.
I don't know how you would categorize that,
Yeah,
flora.
and I mean, one of the largest challenges we had in here was just, you know, really trying to hone things in, you know, because you can have a tendency to go off the rails a little bit with the color. You know, the color's very colorful in here, very saturated. So it's definitely a little bit out of the norm, but it's something with the right massaging. You know, the artist, you know, Alex was very, very successful with this.
Yeah.
So it turned out really nice.
All right, they're dying for me to probably turn the corner and show
Sure.
the big reveal moment here. So just as a reminder,
And let's just remind people also, what content is this? This is an operation?
this is actually the public zone right here for heroes, and villains have one as well up in ranks. We'll show that in a second.
Okay.
But as a reminder, here was the concept, okay, that we showed, and here's the actual end result of what we made. So this is the main chamber in Mogo, where the War of the Light is being run. And you can see all of the activity going on here with lanterns. Part of your operations is to collect and recover the various mists that are in the city. You end up teleporting them up to Mogo, so you can see you've got mists that are appearing on these teleporters, and lanterns are taking them over into these areas over here. Here's Brother Worth meditating there, flying around. That's pretty cool. Here's Arisa Rob. We'll talk about characters in a little bit, so you get a lot of look at these guys in a little bit. And you can see we're doing some recovery of these mists right here in this operation. And now, let's go over and check out what's going on. There's Kyle and Kilowog rallying the troops. Saint Walker. Hello, Saint Walker. I wonder if I can talk to him. Oh, I can, but you know what? We can't really hear it because MEPS is anti-sound during these things. So let's get
turn
the
your
voice
settings up.
volume up here. There we go. Voice volume up. Okay, good. There goes Hal. Oh, you know what? People probably want to hear what the new Hal Jordan sounds like, don't you, people? Let's actually do that.
Mogo, let me know if your sensors pick up any changes in amethyst mist activity. You know, just in case.
Good. Mogo. Oh. Mogo interrupted Hal right there. You can hear Mogo's voice in the background too. A lot of characters. These are quest givers or mission givers. Various ones up in here. So you come up here and get your missions. Now this is Mogo's power ring, safely behind a force field, but it's ginormous and located around this giant kind of rock thing. I mean, now we started in the concept. This is a good example, right?
Right.
The concept had a big pillar of energy.
Right.
But I asked you guys to make it more like it was on his finger.
Right.
Make it more physical. So we went through several iterations of this room.
And those are definitely things that we typically go through, you know, within production. You know, we start with an idea, we'll get a concept, we'll rough it out in 3D, and sometimes it's not exactly what we envisioned. So there is a little going back and forth and figuring out, you know, what's best for the game.
Here's Saint Walker. Let's see if we can get him to be a little chatty so people can hear him.
Stay safe, my friend.
Oh, thank you.
Mist containers
I will
incoming.
always hope until my final breath.
Another Hal, because, you know.
Try and stay away from the mist. You don't want to lose control. Trust me.
Very, very, very much improved. I am pleased. Okay, so this is Mogo. This is basically the command center, and you would some of your missions for the operations actually take place in here, but this is actually where you're going to see other players that would be coming in to get their daily missions and things like that, where you can join up and then go back down into the city, do your solo missions. There are some solo missions to do in the open world, and as well as operations that take place here. So let's actually move over to another area. Let me remind you of the concept for the actually I don't have a concept for this one. You chose the emotional lodestone, but I actually chose a different location because I didn't want to spoil the emotional lodestone for its final look, and I should have had you do the training room, but that's my bad, my apology. Let's actually look at the training room though, just as another area on Mogo itself. Here we go. Let's go back into the game. So this is like where Mogo would actually train and allow for a place for people to train, the Green Lanterns to train while they're here. He's kind of the Green Lantern therapist too, so he does a lot of you know, emotional, psychological work with the Lanterns who have, like, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome from the war. They come here and they get soothed by his tranquil voice and whatnot. But this is where they can kind of train. This area was interesting in the concepts. It had a lot of girders and it looked very terrestrial.
Right.
And you guys changed it up a lot.
Yeah. So this was definitely one of those kind of give and go, touch and feel kind of areas. We definitely, you know, originally the ground here, the ground plane was solid. You know, we went back, we said, hey, let's try to expose some stuff underneath there. Let's create some interesting parallax in the environment. And this is kind of what we ended up with.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like the area. So you'll be heading out here in one of the missions as well. I'm going to switch back to the environment concept again and let's go to the emotional lodestone. Screw it. Might as well, but I'm going to have to cheat my way over there. So give me a second, people, while I do that. And this room was interesting. The emotional lodestone, I think, is a really cool room in Mogo. It's as I said, where he guides all of the lanterns or rings that need new bearers. This is where he does it from. I'll get there in 1 second, folks. Sorry for the delay. I didn't put the coordinates in for this one. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Did I miss it? It's here somewhere. There we go. Okay, there it is.
Mist containers incoming.
There we go. All right, so this is Mogo, the emotional lodestone in reality. Quite. Whoops! I went through the floor. There we go. Richie probably just had a heart attack. What just happened to my environment in the middle of this show? Okay, there we go. Okay, so here's the emotional lodestone. You can see we basically built all these passages as if this was like the center of Mogo, a honeycomb where the rings could go out.
That's where they're sending the rings out.
Exactly. Yep. So you can see the lodestone up top. We changed this a little bit. In the concept, you can see that it's on the ground here. And in the actual game, you can see we put it up on the ceiling and put all the passages around to give it that kind of glowing feel. And this was for gameplay purposes.
Right.
There's often a war of the art and design going on between, like,
that is true.
You want to talk about that a little bit and the sort of
Sure.
friction that goes on there, not in a bad way,
No.
but you know,
it's always a great positive friction. Not necessarily always, but we try to ultimately at the end of the day.
Go ahead, you can say it. We cramp your style. we cramp your style.
You know, the artists are always trying to make it look good, and the designers are always trying to make it look fun, and I mean,
feel fun,
or
actually more important, bug free.
Exactly.
Right.
And
no exploits.
So those are definitely restrictions that these guys put on us, and unfortunately, you know, we have to work within those constraints, and we try to give and take every once in a while and sneak a little goodness in there and figure out clever ways to do something with really nothing sometimes. And
well, it's really like that. You guys, we need constrained spaces. The
Sure.
smaller the space, the easier it is
Right.
for us to make content that is predictable and non-exploitable and all that kind of stuff.
exactly.
And so the spaces get limited, but you guys are often wanting more space and more depth, right? So
Exactly.
this is a great example of how you guys were able to achieve depth,
Right.
you know, without expanding the room out.
Right, and it's just a matter of insinuating the depth rather than physically creating the depth always. So
I think that this room is actually a terrific example of that now that we're talking about it, right? You guys put in a clear floor.
exactly.
You're inside a room in a room.
Right. We're still confining the player, but then alluding to the fact that this room does go on.
Yeah, and continues.
So-
There's more to this
Right.
space in this place.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is some of the stuff that's on Mogo. I'd like to show some of the areas on ranks. We don't need to show concept for it, I don't think.
No.
So we can just pop over there and check it out, and then maybe we'll come back here and check out some of the characters. So let me get us over there. See if I can remember without having to go over.
Our rings are being guided to their new
We
owner.
can hear Mogo. He's so soothing. He's got that sexy voice, you know.
Is that what you call it?
Sure, why not? He's got that Barry White kind of, you know, low vibe. Just sending it out there. Hello, ladies. I'm Mogo. Creeping Richie
Uh-oh.
out. Maps, you might want to come
Uh-oh.
and bail Richie out here.
Yeah, do I need to come stand between you two?
Don't
Jeez.
be jealous, Maps.
It is
Don't be
dinner
jealous. Only
I
have
am a
eyes for
little
you.
jealous.
All right. So this is ranks.
I suggest you join with my Sinestro Corps as we impose order on the universe.
Talk about this environment here.
Yeah, so this is an area, you know, I'm hoping you guys really, really appreciate just on a visual standpoint. This has definitely been kind of in the making for a while here. After hours, kind of on Brian's spare time here and there, and he just really, really took this over the top.
I love
Very,
those
very
turbines.
happy with this environment. You know, all the depth that he really focused on, you know, within the textures and just the colors, you know, just really, really brought it home.
There's Hank Henshaw.
hmm
Hank's making his appearance in first appearance in DC Universe Online. Let's take a look at Hank. He's got a big role in the content.
All of the crew perished horribly, including my wife and myself. And yet here I am, despite my best efforts.
Oh, poor Hank. Such a sad story. All right, so the Sinestro Corps is also sending villains down, working with Sinestro and his corps to collect mist as well, which is what really is sparking the War of the Light. The cool part about these areas and these public zones is you're going to see all the iconics that are really involved in this. Amonsur, Sinestro, Alyssa Drac, you know, Arkillo. They all hang out up in this area. You can interact and talk with them. A lot like the DLC 8 Sons of Trigon strongholds. Here's Lyssa, there's Arkillo. So you can kind of hang out with these guys. They're just in the area, you know, really take a picture of yourself next to the famous iconics. All fun, all fun. And they're collecting mists as well. So a lot of the missions revolve around, we need to get the Emerald Mist back if you're a hero. We need to get the Topaz Mist back if you're a villain. And the blues and the greens are working together. The Sinestro Corps is working just with themselves, and the reds are out there as kind of a neutral force. We haven't really seen them become a factor yet in picking a side. They're just sort of out for themselves at this point. So this is ranks. It's interesting too because I know you guys. One of the things that I remember that came up in the reviews for this was we wanted ranks to feel like he had a Sinestro uniform on.
Right.
But one of the things that was really concerning your artist was that everything was going to end up just yellow.
Right. Yeah, and that's an interpretation thing. And you know, as an artist, we definitely, you know, we hear one thing from design sometimes, and we say, well, if we did that literally, then it would look not as good as
Yeah.
what we envision. So it's a little give and take, and asking the right questions and kind of going back and forth, presenting kind of our ideas, and figuring out what they like and what they don't like about it, and what visually we feel like we're putting our best foot forward with.
Yeah.
So
I think you guys did a good job with the end results too, because one of the things we focused on was trying to get Sinestro core logos in there, because one thing that makes the costume feel like the costume when you're in a core is that emblem, that logo that's like front and center on your chest, often glowing, right, and emissive. And we worked in a lot of these yellow elements into the energy, the force fields, the doors, and things like that. You can see kind of some of the metal on the floor is picking up the yellow textures, and again the emblem. But you added a lot of cool colors as well.
Right. And that's really to create contrast in the environment. If everything was just all yellow and black and
50 Shades of Yellow.
Yeah, things
that's
just
the sequel. That's a novel one day right there.
As an artist, we're definitely trying to push it a little bit more, trying to create more interest, trying to create more depth, with contrast of color within the scene. And also, on the specular values, that's something new you guys saw come to the table recently, in the open cities and everything in the big update. That's once again, you see contrast in the specular sheen on the floor. If everything had the same amount of sheen, it just turns out looking like a glazed donut.
Right.
Yeah,
and you can see that kind of lighter metal with the darker metal right there to illustrate what you're talking about.
Exactly. Right.
Right on the left hand of the screen as I move the mouse.
Exactly. And these are things we're trying to really hone in on and push for moving forward with future DLCs. And it's we're really excited.
All right, let me jump over to another area in ranks. I think you guys are going to love this one. This was one of the most important areas to me when we were coming up with this, because one of the missions, you can see that Mogo and Rank's in the sky and there's this big battle going on, and one of the missions actually sends you to Ranks' main gun battery, and you can see who he has lined up in his sights right here. So you can see the giant kind of railguns. I actually forget what technically kind of weapon they are, so forgive me, nerds. I'm having a geek blank moment here, but you can see Mogo in the sky against space. There's the Earth down there, the moon as well, waxing and waning, and these guns will be obviously firing off, and there'll be a big boss fight in here to try and save Mogo. If you're a hero, you're coming in here to kind of try and stop the assault that's about to blow him to bits. So really cool. Really cool environment. Very, very, very cool part of DC. What were some of the challenges you guys ran into while trying to do this one, if you can recall?
Yeah, so some of the big challenges we ran into with this particular map was just a performance standpoint. We are drawing a lot here. We're drawing interesting... 3
huge planets, or 2 planets and a moon.
Right, and then we're drawing effects, we're drawing transparency. Everything that you guys see that is translucent, transparent, always costs us on a performance. So we try to use that sparingly. Once again, this is a prime example of us trying to create that depth without you necessarily going there.
Yeah, we're still in a confined space for the gameplay.
Right.
But wow, does it look like it goes on forever.
Exactly. And one thing we've really tried to pull off here is just alluding to the fact that, hey, I was there when you saw it in Metropolis. You saw it in the sky. And those are high level things that we always tried to preserve in working on this DLC.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That was very important, both from an environment standpoint and from a design standpoint. As I said, there are missions on the planet where you're dealing with collecting the mist, and then you come back up in the public area, and all those mist containers that you teleported up to Mogo and Ranks, they're being dealt with by the Iconics and the cores themselves.
Right, that's right.
A lot of reinforcing of the themes, the locations, the vistas, and everything like that to really make this tight, because this is just part one of this DLC trilogy.
Right.
So you're going to see more of these spaces, expanding Mogo, expanding ranks into other areas as well.
Yep.
Okay, hey Meps.
Yeah.
That's it for the environments. We're going to be moving on to characters soon, but I'd like to see if the chat had any questions while we were talking regarding the environment work or the creative behind it for Richie and myself.
Yeah, we've got a couple of questions here.
Okay.
Not a ton specifically about the art, but let's see what you got. People were asking about.
She's throwing down the gauntlet for us, Richie. Let's see what we can do.
When we were back in Metropolis, they're wondering, is it a full Metropolis or a section of Metropolis? How big is that region?
Ah, good. I'm glad you asked. The head map technology actually allows us to change the zone border for the map.
That's right.
Much like we did in Origin Crisis, right? We had those versions of Metro and Gotham which had those borders that you couldn't get around. What we plan on doing with DLC trilogies like War of the Light and it's the one that kicks off after it, Amazon Fury, which is going to be using Gotham City, is we're going to actually start with each DLC. We're going to have a chunk of the city that's dedicated for the content of that DLC. When the next one comes out, we'll move that zone border and fill up more of the city. And then when the third one and final one comes out, we'll move that zone border and fill up the rest of the city. So the idea here is that by the end of the trilogy, you've got this whole, well, I don't want to say the entire, but almost the entire, if not the entire city itself will be explorable by you, and will have all the content that's themed after that trilogy in it. So you can still go back to the launch Metropolis, which has all the leveling content, but you can also go over to this new version of Metropolis that just has all the War of the Light content. And same thing will happen with Gotham City and the Amazon Fury DLC that we've actually started working on now internally. Can't wait to do the concept and art to game one for that, because there's some cool stuff coming out.
Yep.
But I digress.
We've got our
stay
work
on
cut
target.
out for us.
Yeah, stay on target. Okay.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
Michael Grid asks, was there a goal to really differentiate ranks from the Brainiac environments?
You know, that's really interesting. I'm gonna really draw back the curtain here.
Okay.
Because when we actually first had the original version of the sort of starter set that we had for ranks, it was totally purple.
Right.
And I remember saying, Richie, this looks like a Brainiac level.
Right.
And that's when the whole conversation started about, can you please make it more yellow?
Right.
Which then, you know,
Went
spawned
to a
the whole
whole
like,
new
wait,
level.
what?
Yeah,
Yellow? I
exactly.
can't make the whole
It's
thing
gonna look like
yellow.
a bumblebee.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right.
So that's actually why we have some cool elements in a lot of this. And you can see there's a little bit, I think, a remnant of, in some of the textures in the walls or the cabling of that kind of purplish feel, at least some of those. Is purple a cool color?
Yep.
It is? Okay, some of those coolish colors. Did you just laugh at me, Meps?
No,
Oh, good.
of course not.
We could have a warm purple and a cold purple.
Okay, good. I thought so. A little more red and it's warm, right? Oh, look at this. I didn't even go over here and look at that.
We can't see you. We're watching the camera.
Oh, that's what you were. Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Look at those turbines going on. Can you see that now, Meps? I hope. Yes, probably. You have lag and delay.
I'm watching on delay. Yep, there it goes.
All right.
Thanks.
So yeah, you can see some of the cooler elements that pop through as a result of that. But you guys really did a good job addressing that feedback, coming to a compromise and a happy medium that gets some more of that yellow and black that is essentially ranks. You know, we wanted him to have a uniform, but it's funny. We actually really started in a place that was just so close to Brainiac. We had to take, you know, a left turn and you know, and just kind of re-envision it and get it more in the park or in the ballpark of Sinestro.
Right.
Which I think we did through use of the doors,
The construct doors.
Yeah, construct doors with the icon, the emblem, emblems in the floor, bringing out yellow holograms on the consoles, adding bits of banding and things like that to the floor and the walls. So it really turned out well. But I mean, that's a great example right there. You can see a lot of that kind of purple kind of coming through. But now that the yellow's in there, it really is a nice contrast, like you were saying. So I think they did a beautiful,
it's a complimentary,
job on this. Yeah. All right, Meps, any other questions before we move on?
One last one. This is a quick one. Vulcan Let's Play wants to know, can he, as a hero, go to both ranks and Mogo, or is it one or the other?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. So heroes have 2 4-man operations. They will go into various locations in the DLC 9 War of the Light environments. Villains have 2 4-man operations as well, and then both sides have their own 8-man operation. Now, why is it an operation, not a raid or an alert? Well, because operations, as you know, go from public spaces to private spaces, and they jump in and out of those areas. Now, PS3 players, I want you to know we very, very, very much understand the issues of loading for you. So we have reduced those load times and those load opportunities within each of the operations, but there are various locations. Now, it's not just so here the answer is yes. Heroes will go up to Mogo and ranks. Villains will go up to ranks and Mogo. They'll both be using the public area of the Metropolis Battle Zone. And even in the Metropolis Battle Zone itself, there actually are instances that you go into. You go into the JSA headquarters. You're going into Star Labs as well. So there's instances that we're using in the city. So the city is porous and has places for you to go. You get to go up into those environments that you're seeing up in the skybox. Both heroes and villains get to interact with all the different characters, so that's really exciting that you get to see them all in different ways. And there's various operations, like there's a strike team operation and a recovery operation. So some of the operations are themed after getting all of the mist recovered, and other ones are actually like stop Mogo or stop ranks from blowing Mogo up, stop ranks from bombarding the city with blink bombs. All kinds of things like that are going on. My chair is sinking again. Did you do that?
Good. Yeah,
you did that on
coming down
purpose,
to my
didn't
level.
you? All right, now I gotta sit up way straight. All right, here we go.
Wait, did you break my new chair?
Your
Come on,
well, how do you
man.
call this a new chair? It is like rickety, wobbly. Oh man, I think Richie's in
I
your
like
chair.
it.
You like that chair?
No, I like you in that chair.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah,
I'm shorter now,
exactly.
like way down here. All right. Anyway, so there's the answer to your question. The answer is yes. You get to go to both, and you get to go to various locations on it. And as the DLC trilogy unfolds, we will expand these areas and also offer some new ones that we have in store. We're not going to talk about that right now, but I'm going to
All right.
tease you.
That's good. We'll have some more questions later. I got a couple more saved up, but there.
All right, good. Let's talk about gear. Let's talk
let's do
about
that.
gear. All right, so right now, what are we looking at? We are looking at the female version of the Red Lantern inspired gear. And let's talk about these, but first, shall we show some concept?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go into our gear concept here. Woohoo! Look at that. All right, so first I want to say that the 3 that are available, we did 4 that we concepted out because we wanted to broaden out our understanding about how these
That's
were
right.
mixing and matching.
Right.
And we didn't think 3 was sufficient, so we did 4. And one of them was blue. The blue will be introduced in the second part of War of the Light, and is the ones that are available for you in part 1 are the Sinestro Corps inspired, the Green Lantern Corps inspired, and the Red Lantern Corps inspired. Villains will be able to wear the Sinestro Corps one you're seeing on your right. Heroes will be able to earn the Green Lantern Corps one you see on your left. Both will be able to earn the one that you're seeing, the Red Lantern one, on your center right there. And then you can see the style of kind of character we put in to inspire that was based off of Rancor, who is a new character in the new 52, and you can see it's modeled after him, and even the head is inspired by him right there. So this was the concept. Why don't you talk about this a little bit and what we did here?
Sure. So basically what we did here is this is just a very loose concept that our concept artists worked on, and really what we're trying to define here on a very high level was just how the lines, the shape, kind of defined the inner line work of the actual characters. These are form-fitting suits, and we're just trying to create interesting ways to create visual breakup with a very limited tool set, to essentially work from. So we're looking at exactly how those lines kind of flowed, still preserving the high level direction of the suit and the characters and the light color, So it was somewhat of a challenge. And as you guys will see, the actual characters in 3D, kind of how we took this and took it to a whole new level, and really focusing on visual breakup with a very limited palette. So
now, our concept artist at the time, not a huge DC Comics geek.
Right.
You know how I know that? Because that's the Indigo Tribe symbol on the blue one. I remember looking at that and going, wait, something's wrong here.
Yep.
Richie, you need to read a comic book.
Yep.
So yeah, that's obviously not the hope symbol. It is the indigo one. And one of the things that really sort of inspired the directions of these suits from a design standpoint too was the slimline aspect of it.
That's right.
We've had a lot of feedback about bulkiness, and so we wanted to slim these down, which we did. And like you said, you had to do a lot with a little,
Right.
because of that. All right, so let's check out the gear. Actually,
Well, hang on, one more thing.
what?
Sure.
Well, and there's a question that goes back to this, but someone asked, how long does it take to go from concept art to in the game, walking around seeing it?
Well, there's a date in the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah.
3/16/2013 was when we first had the concept created.
It's been a while.
Yep. Takes a while to get this stuff.
Right.
You wanna
Is that
talk
about the same for the gear versus the environment? Yeah.
It all depends how picky the designers are.
Why you gotta throw it up in our face? All right.
So basically, it just really depends how soon we can hit that bar. How soon
On a scale of 1 to 10, how picky am I?
11.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not only a scale on as far as making design happy, it's also as far as visually, making the art team happy, and really, yes, I am the art director, but everybody's got a pair of eyes, everybody's got an opinion. It's a matter of honing that in and really creating the best visual look that works within our gameplay.
Right.
Is really what we need to shoot for,
Right.
and that's kind of the challenge, the daily challenges we have, and the things that inspire me to continue. And that's an awesome challenge. But yes, back to your question, typically it takes us rough concept no more than a day, 2 days. Then we do some iteration. From iteration, for a final concept, we're looking at a few more days. Then we go back and forth on the block out of models, texturing, animation in the game.
Yep.
So.
And this isn't to say that, wow, we've been working on that suit every day since March.
Right.
That is absolutely not the case.
Right.
A lot of the things that go into a DLC are on different tracks, different timelines. You'll finish something up and you'll put it on the shelf so that it's ready to go while the character team moves on to actually making the characters,
That's
which
right.
we're going to see in a little while.
That's right.
So people shouldn't assume that, holy moly, wait, they've been working on those suits for 9 months.
Right.
No, that's not how it works. The suits were done quite some time ago, but they can't be released without the DLC.
That's right.
So the reason we say, wow, it takes that long, meaning that's how much time we need. Because of the body of work that we have to put together, we actually have to get ahead of the game. And so we're starting things like way earlier, then putting those on the shelf, moving on to the next thing, adding those to the stack, moving on to the next thing, adding those to the stack, and then when you're done, you've got the entire DLC. So don't be fooled that it takes us that long to actually build something. It's not
Right.
Every day we've been working on that. That would be a little
It costs you
odd.
guys a fortune.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go back to the gear here. That was the concept. Let's take a look at the yellow lantern in game. I've tweeted some of these out, but now you can see the back of the female and the back of the yellow male costume here. And these, again, were all designed to work with each other, so you can mix and match the boots and the pants from the various different styles. Here's the Green Lantern one that you can see here. And so people are not confused. The emblem is attached to this chest piece. You can't remove it. Just like the Spectre bat gear,
Right.
you know, you can't take this emblem off and put it on another piece of gear. It actually is part of this piece. And while you can tint all of the various elements of this, it certainly doesn't have to be black and green and white. We tinted it like that because this was what it's inspired by.
That's right.
You cannot tint this emblem. No matter what color you change the costume pieces and the gear pieces to, that emblem will always stay green. That is a brand thing for
Exactly.
DC. So you had to protect it. Now, and the back piece is truly a back piece. That's not actually put on the chest. So you can remove that or not. And you can mix and match it. You could totally put a Rage one on the back and a Green Lantern one on the front if you wanted to. Why you would do that, I don't know, but I bet somebody will. And then here's the red one. Now this one is for both heroes and villains because we're doing our Rage powers as more of a hero and villain power. We feel there are examples of that in the comics, so we actually have this gear dropping on both sides for people so that they can, if they want a Rage character as a hero, they can have access to the gear just like the villains can. And I think these are interesting pieces. You know, they share some elements when it comes to some of the kind of dimpled texture going on in that shader, and then they also have some very unique things in the emblems as well. But they all work well together.
What was it that you coined that texture, the material?
Golf ball?
Fiber tech? Or
What? Me?
Yeah, you coined it as some name.
I did?
Yeah.
Why don't I remember then?
I don't know.
I could be making money on the patent.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, this is definitely an example of, you know, the quality that we're trying to kind of push forward with, you know, with insinuated texture. You know, we could have easily made his whole pant leg gray, but we're trying to give a little bit of visual breakup. As we're starting to head more into next gen territory, where texture resolution is going to get a little higher for us, we're trying to push little quality elements like this. Hopefully you guys will appreciate this.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I'm really happy with how it turned out in general. Okay, so now let's talk about iconic characters that are appearing in the DLC, shall we?
Sure.
Let me actually go back to Mr. Mogo, and we'll take a look at some of the iconics on the hero side here, because I think we'll probably start with them. So there's a couple of things. We're introducing Saint Walker to the game. Many new iconics as well. Reusing some is because obviously, I mean, Kyle Rayner and John Stewart and Kilowog, they're already in the game, but they sure as heck should be part of the War of the Light that's going on here. That's for sure. You know, here's Saint Walker, for example. You'll see these guys coming in and out. They'll zone in and out of this area down to the city itself. But Saint Walker was one that we needed to really you know, kind of figure out how we were going to do this guy. And you can see right here he has a pretty unique look. He's going to make this difficult and fly all over the place, so bear with me, people, as I try and get good views of him. Here's one right here. You can kind of see we put a little more detail into his costume, didn't we?
Fiber mesh.
Fiber mesh?
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm brilliant. Thanks for
Fiber
remembering. So you can see here he's not just got like sort of a flat spandex look. There was a lot of comments and feedback from our players that they wanted more definition in these suits and more detail in these suits. So you can see here that he has kind of the metal piping kind of feel on the outside, and he has of course the blue glow, his ring, and he has the really interesting kind of almost like kind of quilted look there, but it's not really. But let's go into that really quick.
Sure.
I need to have the designers adjust his nameplate. Let's look at the concept for him that we came up with first. Okay. So let's go to some of these iconics. Oh, Meps, you had the wrong one queued. All right, here we go. Saint Walker. I think we want the first one, correct? Not the Rev 3. Okay, so here you can see where we started. Yeah. I asked for more detail, and then I kicked myself.
We took it over the top.
Yeah, you guys. It was like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and a quilt mated, and then we ended up with this. So it took the detail a little too far. Actually, when I first saw it, I'm being a little flippant, but when I first saw it, I really thought of a still suit from Dune.
Oh, I see,
which I thought was really kind of cool, and I didn't want to completely lose it, but we kind of had a feeling this wasn't going to fly with DC very well.
Right. And so those are that's kind of a challenge with this guy that we kind of ran up against. Was it started with his head, his hands were looking really cool. You know, the artist did a really bang up job on this, and you know, the suit just looked very flat initially. So what we tried to do was add a little bit more detail, texture in there, and we always have a tendency to push it really far, and just to kind of get a gut check, you know, from everybody around, and kind of tailor it back a little bit from there.
So yeah, you want to show the next revision that we did? So we ended up more like this, which is getting it back to what you would be familiar with in the comics for sure. But definitely significant details changed. You can even see kind of on the boots at the bottom, there was a little more kind of like almost like he had a sole on the bottom of his shoe that was that same kind of metal. You know, we removed a little bit of that element in here. It's still there a little bit, but it's a little less prominent, and certainly got rid of a lot of that quilting, pocketed kind of feel.
Yeah, so we just kind of isolated it to selected areas. We definitely it fits with the head a little bit more without going overboard, and these are things we definitely want to strive for moving forward.
Now, in the chat right now, they're saying there's a war going on already, very appropriate for the War of the Light. I like the first one better. I like the second one better. The second one's way better. No way, the first.
Right. So
welcome to the community, Richie. This is how we operate.
Right.
All right, but now you see him in game here.
And so we definitely have another component to this mix, and that component is DC, and you know, making sure we preserve the character and kind of what they built up in the comics. So the artists are always trying to push the boundary a little bit on this, and
the blue light
we have to make all parties happy.
Here he is.
Stay safe, my friend.
So he looks really great, and he'll be added as a Legends character as well, so people will actually be able to play him in Legends PvP, which is super exciting. But he's here working with the Green Lanterns. All right, let's take a look at another iconic character. Who else do we have going on in here? Let's see. All right, so that do we have? All right, here's Guy Gardner. Let's see, Guy Gardner. Come on. Oh, I gotta click on this. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so here's Guy. First of all, what's different about this guy? Haircut. Bowl cut is gone, and I want to give you a big hug and a slobbery wet kiss for getting rid of that bowl cut, Richie. That thing was a little dated. So our new guy no longer has the bowl cut on him.
Right.
And he still stays true to he's lost a little bit of the moon boot look as well. So slimlined him down. You can see him here with his green aura. But guess what? We have the Red Lanterns in this DLC. We all know that at some point Guy Gardner gets a red ring and gets to wield the red light of rage. So bam, here you go, people. We actually have Guy transforming during one of the boss fights into his rage version, and here we go. You can see that here, and he looks
fierce.
Oh, fierce! That's right. He does look fierce. You'll be taking him on in all his awesome, angry glory. A little bit of I never noticed this before, but I don't know if this is in the comics now, but a little bit of a pilgrim buckle on the shoe there. I'm seeing.
You like the shoes, don't you?
Yeah, well, you know, you gotta focus on them. Sometimes they're kicking you in the face. You see that up close, you know? Anyway, so you want to talk about this one at all? You have anything to add about the character specifically, or
not necessarily on this one? No.
All right.
I mean, unless there's some questions to field.
We'll get to we'll get to them later.
Sure.
We'll get to them later. All right. So here you go for Red Lantern Guy Gardner. He'll be making an appearance. So that's very cool. All right, so those are here's Brother Worth we have in the game. Let me go find him really quick, so we can check him out, and then we'll talk about the gear. Let's look at his actual model in the game. So here's Brother Worth, Mr. Elephant Guy.
Be careful to avoid the mists.
He doesn't want to look at you.
I know.
The mind and spirit.
So here he is.
Yeah, he turned out really good.
Turned out pretty cool. I think he looks fantastic.
The universe is a big place. I hope we can keep everyone safe.
Yeah, you sure can. Good luck. Good luck, sir. So here he is, and you can see the style of his shirt or his top there. And of course, if we go back over here, we have some inspired by gear that we did. And why don't you tell? I don't see much difference in the before and after. You tell me what's going on.
So the main reason I wanted to include this in the deck was just to show you guys kind of how strict DC can be on us at times in preserving their brand. There's a before and after right up here. And you see the little V area where his neckline is. They requested for that to be pulled down a bit more in order for it to...
okay, so DC actually gave this feedback. They actually cared about the difference between that little cut on the left of the kind of chest area, top of the chest, and they wanted it more like that on the right. That's the level of detail that they will actually point out to us.
Right. Yep.
So very interesting stuff.
Yeah,
now we also have a hat for him, a Brother Worth cap.
We do,
right? And
we
this
don't
one,
have that in here though.
No, we don't. But I want to talk about it really quick because so here's the Brother Worth hat, and this was interesting between you know, kind of you can see it right here, and of course he has the bald head, and it's like a little cap on his bald head. And when you guys first pulled this off of him and did a version of it, it was really thick.
Right.
And that was so that you could accommodate the hairstyle that could be on it. And I remember saying, well, now it doesn't look like the Brother Worth cap anymore. So we actually made the change so that that cap would override the oh, you know what? Here I am, not seeing it again. Okay, let me show that again. Okay, so here's the cap. Right here. Oh, good. He's posing for me. Very good form, brother. Very good form. Num shibum. Oh wait, no, that's a different pose. So, Meps, did you get that reference? Num shibum. Num shibum. Num shibum.
Is that from Indiana Jones?
Yes. Which one?
The second one.
Which is called
The Temple of Doom.
Very good, Meps. Bonus points for you. I'm gonna leave a cookie on your chair when I leave.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway,
I'm really happy with myself.
I know you should be. You should be. All right, so we initially did this cap, and it was really much thicker than this, and didn't look like a skull cap anymore. So it didn't really feel like the Brother Worth style, and it was done because of the hair, so that we could let the players keep their hair. But you know what? I came back to you. I said, well, I don't really feel like it's the inspired by style anymore if it's this big. It doesn't look like him. And you said, well, it has problems with the hair. And I said, well, override the hair and make the character bald if they want to put this cap on. And there was a lot of debate over that, actually. And if you don't like that call, people out there, it is my fault, or I am to blame. I am the source, the object of your wrath. But the reason we did that is because, you know what? The character himself is bald, and this is meant for a bald character. And so we made it thinner, like it is here on him. And it overrides your hair. So if you do want to be inspired by Brother Worth cap, then you will be shaving your head in the game, your virtual head.
It's a commitment.
It is a commitment. It's a lifestyle. Anyway, so just another example of sometimes DC will come back and want to alter and change something.
Right.
And sometimes it happens inside the team.
Sure.
You know, we're not happy with how it's reflecting the brand, and we get ahead of that stuff sometimes. I have no idea if they would have had a problem with it or thought about that themselves. But, you know, sometimes we take a look at it and we go, we don't think that necessarily represents. All right, so what else do we got going on here? Let's take a look at character stuff. All right, y'all have seen this. We've let it already. Meps spoiled this in the early stages. So one of the things that happened in the comics, you end up seeing Iconics getting rings, and they become members of the corps, the Blue Lantern Corps, the Sinestro Corps. You'll see them get drafted. Now ours happened in a different way. So in our storyline, these characters are actually getting infused by the mist. They're actually being taken over, mind and body. Okay, they're almost not themselves anymore. They are somehow an extension of this mist and an avatar of that color of the emotional spectrum. Something's going on there. And so you can see we did this special aura, very different from the other auras that we have on a normal Blue Lantern. Right? Saint Walker himself, as you saw in the game over here, actually has a blue aura on him. Let me see if I can find him so he can show that off. Where are you, Guy? Where are you, Saint Walker? Oh, he's not. There he is. Okay, so you can see he just has a normal blue aura because this is being created by his power ring. But Flash himself, he's actually being infused by this mist. So the mist is actually kind of exuding out of him. I think we should show this actually in game.
Really cool animated.
We should let's show this actually. Let me see if I can spawn him here. Show the people what he actually looks like in game. Here we go. And this should be a safe place to spawn him because he's among friendlies here. But he would never normally appear in this area. Hopefully he has his aura on him. Yes, does he? Yes. Okay, good. So you can see it right here. And of course he's still got super speed. But you can see the aura right there. Looks freaking amazing. Yeah, you guys really did a good job with these. And look at the costume. I mean, the costume. This was another example, by the way, where DC came back and they said, hey, we want you to change these little bitty lines around the emblem so that they look more like the Blue Lantern uniform. And of course, we capitulated. But you can see Blue Lantern Flash right here and kind of what he's all about.
Yeah, he turned out really good.
Fantastic. Just fantastic. I know everybody right now is going, give me that aura. I want that aura. Is that happening, Meps, or am I just imagining that it's happening?
That is happening. That also happened for the Guy Gardner red jacket.
Did it? They want the jacket?
Interesting.
Okay.
Cool.
So you know.
Well, Richie, write that down. Or take mental notes.
Yep.
So there, beautiful aura. You know, we did the plasmic aura recently, and we really learned a lot from that, right? And so now we're trying to take these to new levels. You want to talk about the auras and kind of what our limits or sort of constraints are there in what we're doing and how they work, or any aura stuff.
Yeah, the auras were actually quite interesting. I mean, essentially, we're rendering another mesh over the character that's kind of embedded within the character, and this is some material work that Michael and the character team was kind of playing with, and he was very, very successful with the outcome here. Maybe we could show them a few more of the other characters with the aura.
Let's do it. Okay, so let's see
you guys
here.
Can contrast.
Let's see if I have any of the other. Okay, so there was Flash. How about we do? All right. How about we do one? There's one that we had actually a lot of iteration on. So, oh shoot, you guys didn't put concept in here for Hawkman. All right, let's just show. We'll show Green Martian Manhunter now.
Oh, the Hawkman wings.
Oh, okay,
here we go.
All right, so yeah.
So one thing we really tried to pull off with the auras, and we went back and forth with design and stuff, and really was the shape language of the aura itself, and to differentiate those not only in color but also in shape, and those are critical things that as an artist we tried to focus on. Martian Manhunter, it was kind of a little bit of a trial and error.
Yeah, really trial and error. So I want to tell everyone right now, this is not the final version.
Right.
This was our first version.
Right.
And what you and your team were trying to accomplish was we knew he was going to be in a Green Lantern uniform.
That's right.
And you guys were going to try and rely on the natural skin tone of his to represent the green. And then so all the other elements became black and white. Now, we went ahead and submitted this to DC.
Sure.
But it looked awkward right away, but we were like, let's kind of see if they approve it. They came back right away and they said, no. They said, no way. No, we do not want that. And they said he looks too much like a White Lantern or even a Black Lantern, but mostly like a White Lantern because there was just too much white in the costume.
Right.
I think we went through 3 iterations of trying to continue to stick with making the skin work as the green element, and he ended up looking too black, and then he ended up looking too white, and then he ended up looking like nothing after a while. It was all too green. So we finally decided we were just going to ignore the skin and treat the costume as if it would be a Green Lantern all on its own, and we ended up here. Where are we? Sorry. Why isn't this mouse working? Here we go. Oops. There we go. So we ended up here, which we think is a much better spot, right? We just stopped trying to rely on showing a lot of Martian skin, you know, and we went with a uniform.
Right. And we still have a good amount of breakup. You know, the gloves remain, you know, white. There's definitely good breakup. The auras is really cool. I don't know if you could spawn a character.
I will. I will. Yeah,
cool.
Totally. I'll spawn him in just a second. Let me get the ID I need for that. So I'm much happier with how this ended up. It was one of those moments where you have just the best of intentions. You know, you're trying to work with the character and you're just trying to go through it and stick with that idea, and at some point you just got to cut bait. You just got to say, this just isn't working. We really need to start over, and I'm so glad we did. So let's actually see him in motion right now. He'll have the green aura on him, which we can see right here. Of course, our nice little cape bug making an appearance. Hello. There's like a ghost holding up his cape. It's very, very odd. Anyway, we'll fix that soon. Sorry, folks. Anyway, you can see right here he's got the green aura, the green mist aura that he's been turned him into this version of a Green Lantern. Am I not? Gosh darn it! Bam! Here he is in the game.
There we go.
Okay. Here he is in the game, and you can kind of see the rim lighting effect that you guys put on him, the aura itself. I'm trying to get a better view of Mr. Martian Manhunter. There we go. So you can see here, he looks just so much better. Not relying more on the aura, the actual costume to be more of a predominantly green look. You know, getting the rim light going on him and everything like that. It really just started selling the character a lot more. Now he looks more like he kind of looks like Martian Manhunter raided Guy Gardner's closet. You know, I kind of got a little bit of that look going on there.
And I think
it's the high collar.
I think with a lot of these NPCs, that was kind of the challenge for all of us. You know, on the art team was, you know, what exactly do we change? We just can't tint them green.
Yeah.
You know? So we definitely tried to give them some personality and change.
Yeah, and I really like how this aura turned out too. It's super, super cool. Super cool. Okay, so those were some of the Misted Iconics for the heroes. We also have some others that we wanted to share with you right now that we will do really quick. Here's one that was really interesting, and let me make sure. Yeah, okay. So we had Bruno as a misted character as well. Get rid of Martian Manhunter. And when this is actually his just normal character, it looks like.
That's
here.
right, traditional.
Do we have the iterations of him or no?
I could not find those ones.
Oh,
yeah,
all right. Well, let's describe it.
Sure.
Imagine this guy in a red suit.
Right.
It
was boring.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Imagine that little, pocket handkerchief or flower that he had
with
as a rage symbol.
Yep.
Really, really bad. So we, kind of decided to move away from that, and as you can see, we ended up with something where Bruno gets a little raged out here.
Bulked up.
Yeah, kind of took an approach from venomed him up almost a little bit, filled him with rage. He gets that kind of super spurt of strength and growth, and you know, literally burn the Red Lantern symbol into his chest,
Right.
which, by the way, looks really, really freaking cool. And I will spawn him. You can see that the red mist has infused him to make him like this, and it's sort of burning around him. And the reason we went with that, we decided to burn that symbol into his chest because, you know, the lanterns, they get their hearts. They don't need their hearts anymore. Or some of them get their hearts ripped out. I mean, Atrocitus's heart ripped out. Right. So we wanted to focus on that heartbeat. You know, the lanterns, when they're you can hear that thrum sound. They hear that heartbeat. It's all they can really hear, and they don't make much sense of the world other than that raging heartbeat. I'm gonna jump back over to ranks, so that I can safely spawn some of these bad guy dudes and not have this massive brawl going on. So let me get over to ranks over here, and we'll start spawning some of these other guys and show you what he looks like in the game. So Christian was the character artist that worked on this.
That's right.
And he was a trooper, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had fun with it, though.
Yeah, I think so. And there was one review where we just saw the kind of, it was almost like it was blackened.
That's right.
Symbol on his chest.
More of a charred look.
More of a charred look, exactly.
Right.
Let me just go back over here really quick while I get the ID. And it had more of a charred look, and it just sort of hit me when we were looking at it. And I asked him, "Hey, do you think you could like make that symbol emissive and maybe kind of even move or beat like a heart?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can try that."
Mm-hmm.
And he did it, and I think it's really cool. Hello, Bruno.
There we go.
There we go. Here's the rage mist aura burning around him, and you can kind of see that the actual symbol itself is beating like a rage-filled heart. And he looks amazing, and he will stomp you when you run across him. So what's going on here? It's not just Bruno, you know, the rage character. You'll see Grodd, Gorilla Grodd, actually gets taken over by the red mist at one point as well. So you can see him in a Red Lantern-esque costume, and this is Bruno. Bruno's version of this. I think he looks really cool, and it's a really nice touch. He's definitely, somebody says blinking for safety in the chat. You're right. He could definitely go jogging at night in Gotham or Metropolis and not get hit by a car. That's very true. Very true. But he has great definition too on the character model. I think Christian did an amazing job on this guy. He really came out.
Awesome.
Really came out well. Okay, let's see. Do we have any other iconic concept in this folder that we want to show? I think we do. How about this one?
Yeah.
Yellow Lantern Scarecrow.
Nice.
Scarecrow gets infused by the topaz mist, and he gets a whole new costume. This was challenging too. You want to talk about development of this one?
Yeah. So I mean, really, what we tried to shoot for was Sinestro's basic shape pattern, and we did find some inspiration online, and I think it was from some toys or something along those lines, and you know, we're always trying to seek out some really cool inspiration. You know, as an artist, we're only as good as our best inspiration. And you know, this guy, you know, originally we kind of ran with more of a browner gunny sack kind of feel.
Yeah,
remember that?
It didn't look right.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So we definitely tweaked that, and it just I mean, it came to life. You know, the higher spec value on you know, all the yellow gold bits versus the matte kind of values on his clothes just really created a nice contrast.
And initially we had that trench coat kind of look with
That's
the
right.
version of him that was from the comics, but again, like you said, it just started reading too brown all the time.
Right.
And so we wanted him to have a different kind of feel to him for our game. So here you go. You can see the yellow we got need to tweak that asset a little bit. I think we got a little bit of something changed. All right, that's a little buggy. Sorry, folks. Don't worry. I don't think we have that. Normally there isn't that hard line, that hard horizontal line going on there.
Right.
All right. We need to fix that. Okay, but anyway, you get
Get
the
the
idea
idea.
here of
Yep.
his actual costume, and that aura normally has a much more I don't know, how would you describe it? Less line-like look
Yeah,
to it on the
yeah.
horizontal stuff.
Right.
Yeah, something changed. All right,
Yeah.
we'll fix that.
Yep.
Which makes me not want to show the other guy that we had planned, unfortunately. So maybe I'll pick some other random dudes to go with. Here, at one point, you're gonna see we showed Bruno, we showed Saint Walker. Arkillo gets fused with this stuff at one point. So here's an actual Green Lantern version of him, and this was interesting because I remember this asset actually got overlooked. There was a change in the actual design direction for this. Initially, Mogo was going to dominate Arkillo, and to me, it didn't make sense. I was like, well, we have this whole theme going on where they're getting, kind of taken over by the mist. Mogo shouldn't dominate him with his mind. That's just silly. He should actually infuse him with the mist. And so that we took a different approach. And I remember Mike Washburn, our lead character artist, asking, "Do you want me to make a Green Lantern outfit for this guy?" And I said, "No, actually, just change the Sinestro version into a green version." And this is how it turned out. I think it looks great because now
Yeah,
he
I
still
like
looks like Arkillo.
Yep.
I think he would have lost some of that Arkillo feel if he didn't actually have that star shape going on. But yeah, he gets taken over at one point. I can spawn him in the game. I don't think that would be. Where is Arkillo here? Do you see him? Do I not have him in here? No, actually, he's not on my list. Okay, so we won't spawn him in the game. What else do we have? We showed Martian Manhunter. We showed Guy Gardner. Brother Worth we did. Alright, so we don't have any more character screens. However, oops. Yeah, nobody wants to see that. Alright. However, let's see here. We're not going to show any more of the yellows because that one is broken. I do want to show one more, however. Maybe two. Just as quick little glimpses. And he actually might get beaten up in here. Oops, I'm showing it again. There we go. Come on, screen. There we go. He's actually going to probably get attacked on sight. There he is. Hawkman in his Green Lantern misted version. You can see the wings are actually made of the mist aura. His helmet is see, he's going to fight so much and move I probably won't be able to see him. He's his helmet. Where are you, buddy? There you are. He's too hard to film in here because he's going to be attacking the whole time. You can see he's got a kind of a green sheen to his helmet. The nth metal has turned green. He's got the Green Lantern symbol on his chest instead of the Hawkman symbol that he normally has, and he's just Green Lanterned out with this kind of mist infusing him. There you go, a little view of the Hawkman with the aura and the rim light and the wings. I bet people want these wings now too. We're showing them all kinds of items that they're gonna want for sure. I can tell. All right, last one. There's Bruno sitting there. I'm gonna do one more as a gift because we love you people. All right. Hey, Maps, we're going to let the chat choose whether they want to see Blue Lantern Black Lightning, Blue Lantern Black Canary, Green Lantern Wildcat, or Red Lantern Gorilla Grodd.
Okay, vote, people.
You let me know what they say. Show you Atrocitus, says Tony Fabric. Tony, if you want to go see Atrocitus, go see him in the game. He's there already.
Oh my gosh, my brain hurts.
I know, look at it all. I see a lot of canaries actually in Black Lightnings.
Black Canaries.
Yeah, I see tons of Black Canaries.
Black Lightning I think was second, but I think you got to go with Canary.
Yeah, let's go with Black Canary.
Which is good because I was going to say that anyway.
Yeah, because you're a Birds of Prey fan. Yeah. You love you some Birds of Preys. Okay, let's go back to the game here. I'm going to go back to Mogo to spawn her though, because if I spawn her in here, no one's going to be able to see her because she'll be running around so much. I won't be able to keep her on camera. All right, here we are back in They don't like me, but they'll like her. Here we go.
All right, you can stop voting, people.
Stop voting. It's done. Blue Lantern, Black Canary in the house. This
Black
was
Lightning had a surge at the end, but
Did he? All right, maybe I don't know. We won't show him too. Maybe we'll show him
Nice.
too. Sure. So here's Blue Lantern, Black Canary. So where's her symbol? Well, this was interesting. I remember, our content lead wanted the symbol on her back and or on her lapel, and they were talking about putting it on a belt or something like that. And I said, nah, choker. Right? Got to put it on the choker. And we were worried it was going to be too small, but I think she sells as blue with the aura
Oh yeah.
rim light and the choker itself.
Yeah, she turned out really good.
Yeah, I think you put this blue aura on anything and it looks badass. That's my opinion, because it's so freaking cool. All right, hey Meps, guess what?
Yeah.
I am going to. Why don't you gather some questions from the peoples, and
we've actually answered most of the questions I have. So
Have
this
we?
is your last chance. Get the questions in.
All right, any questions on the characters or anything like that we've shown, specifically toward the art, and kind of what our inspiration was in our process of putting these things into the game? And maybe I'll be nice and show Black Lightning. We'll see.
Hang on, I gotta slow down the chat now.
I know,
now I'm
jeez, it's
too
just scrolling so fast.
Currently sense no enemy forces in the vicinity.
Well, that's not gonna help. There's so many people.
I know. Hey,
All
if
right,
you
so-
if you want to know if you're getting a green aura, you can go hear my thoughts on it by watching Odyssey's Lockbox cast. So check out that link on the forums.
We're answering questions related to the art style or what we've shown today, not random DLC related questions.
It's all right if you guys just love it.
The new
Don't have any
bounties,
questions.
these actually misted iconics that we're showing you are bounties in DLC 9. So they'll be in the open world randomly spawning for you to go and get involved and hunt down, or they are also bosses that show up and sub-bosses that show up in the content as well. So and randomly, so you never kind of know which villain version or which hero version is going to show up in the instance. Sometimes it'll be Blue Lantern Flash, other times it'll be Green Lantern Hawkman. You just never know. So we're keeping it really kind of fresh like that. And bam! All right, here you go. Here's Blue Lantern, Black Lightning, who is a flyer and will make my life difficult to show him properly.
Of the environments, which one was your favorite or most challenging for you to work on?
Great question, Richie.
Cool. Ranks was definitely the most challenging on a technical standpoint, primarily as well as a time standpoint. All that depth, all the texture work that you guys see on the panels. Brian just really knocked that out of the park. He spent a lot of time on forming those different shapes and whatnot. On the actual visual standpoint, Mogo was definitely a challenge, just due to the fact we were working with things outside of just mechanical and
that power ring was heavy.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
exactly.
really heavy.
That was heavy
lifting that
lifting.
was tough.
Yeah, that took us a few weeks. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, we tried to create simple, bold shapes that didn't muddy up the scene, and we tried to figure out clever ways to add selective detail to things.
Oh my goodness, Meps, you didn't tell me the camera wasn't.
Oh, it's all right.
On.
Sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead.
trying to read questions.
I know.
So yeah, Mogo was definitely a bit of a challenge on that front, just visually trying to kind of sell these new shapes, this otherworldly kind of feel, and make it feel good. That's a challenge.
Can you say about how many iconics have been infused by different lantern colors?
Yes, I think it's 16. And that's just in part 1. Right. Everybody should keep in mind that the mist is going to more cores are going to be introduced, more More things about the mists in part 2. We'll be doing more in Mogo, more in ranks. Might even go to a home planet or 2. We'll see. That depends on Richie's kindness and the art bandwidth that we have to create stuff. And we'll see more of that to come. And wait till you see the climax that comes in part 3. It's going to be pretty amazing. So yeah, there he is right there. Black Lightning, Blue Lantern. Pretty cool. Pretty
How about
cool.
this? How do you decide the differences between the male and female versions of styles?
That's a good one.
That's a hot topic right now.
Kind of a loaded question, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a very hot topic on the forums. You know, people, and let me fill you in on that.
That was a hot topic today. I wonder if somebody
was.
here is posing that question.
Maybe, yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
It's even been coming up in our conversations about the DLC 10 gear,
That's
especially that because it's Amazon based, and there's a lot of we're going from female concept
Right.
and then going to be pushing it into the male gender.
Yeah, and we're not going to put bras on the mill. So.
No.
Yep. So, yeah, so we're definitely at a challenge with that. Just based off of how our gear sets work, we're always, you know, like Jens mentioned, always trying to figure out a way to make it work for both sexes. So sometimes it starts with the male, sometimes it starts with the female. At the end of the day, we have to make it work for both.
Yeah, and that's just purely a production thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Right. And some people like one over the other. It's kind of a toss-up at times.
The other thing too is that when we make these gear styles like the one you see on here, you know, it is inspired by a particular character when they're iconic like this, and so it still needs to look like Atrocitus. Right. And the reason for that is because, you know, we end up with there's just so many varying opinions out there where people will, if we did something radically different, you would find that people would come out of the woodwork and say, well, I want the male version on my female character. Right. And there's just so many complications, and the production time that it takes us to do the variants would mean we'd have to do less gear overall. So the other thing to keep in mind too is that, you know, gear styles like this, they actually need to fit more, especially vendor bought gear. They need to actually have a number of slots that fit inside the paper doll. We can't do something that only has, like, if you look at some of the new 52 styles, like the Noble Warrior, there aren't this many pieces in the set.
Right.
And that lets us get away with a different kind of look.
Right.
Because we don't have to have shoulders, or we don't have to have bracers, we don't have to have a helmet or a headpiece like that. We can choose to leave things off because it's not a gear bought style. It's not tier gear, so to speak, or something that needs a complete set. So that being said, I think when people make requests, and they have been making a lot of requests, well, I want a character that looks more like Bleeze, or I want a character that looks more like Black Canary. You know, why can't you just pull the pieces that are on her off? Right. I think those are things that we can do if we're going to, you know, sell them on the marketplace, or drop them in a lockbox, or put them in a vault, where we don't need a complete set. Right. You know, we can do
it's a one-off.
It's a one-off. Yep. We can do the Lissa Drac, you know, kind of, you know, revealing outfit. Right. But we have to pull those off and figure out a way to get them in the game that doesn't actually affect the tier progression and stuff. Exactly. And then it's just about time in the day when it comes down to that stuff. You know, we have to get DC approval, we have to get the editorial done on it, we actually have to have the character team pull it off the characters, make it actually work with every single body type that we have in the game. You can't imagine the complexity. Well, you can. Yeah. Right, but it's hard for the players to imagine the complexities of making something work on the big thug character, even just in the males, and then the tiny guy, or on the sprite versus the more, you know, larger Amazon inspired characters. It's really complicated.
Yeah, and there's one little change that comes by, we have to change it across the board.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of work.
Yep.
It's a lot of work that goes into it. It's just not about, like, well, just give me that. She's wearing it. Yeah, well, it's not a real piece of clothing. It's sculpted onto the model itself. We can't have her remove it and then just give it to you. You know, so that's did that answer the question, Meps? Do you think sufficiently?
Yeah, I think that was a good answer.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, we've been going at this for quite some time now. I don't think we have anything more that we were planning on sharing, unless I'm missing something, Maps, or forgetting something.
I think we've done a good job, and I think we're about out of time.
Oh,
so.
we have done a good job. Let's pat ourselves on the back, Richie. Come on, come on, pat yourself.
right.
Well,
on the
Richie
back.
did a good job. Anyway.
Oh, what's up with that? Why do I have to get thrown? Oh, you are terrible.
Okay.
Terrible.
You did a great job, Jens.
Oh,
Good job.
thank you, thank you. All right, well, dude, thanks for coming on and
Thank
doing
you.
this. Let's do more of these
Cool.
as things roll out. Oh, well, Black Canary was getting up close and personal here for us there. That's a good way to end the show. Anyway, thanks for tuning in and checking this out. We really wanted to take some time to give you an idea about the processes and the decisions and the sort of trials and tribulations, the victories and the defeats that we go through when we're trying to, you know, take the things that we're imagining in our head and translate them into the game to be good stewards of the IP, but still give you guys, you know, exciting new things to explore in DCUO. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope it gave you a good glimpse behind the curtain into that part of the process. And Maps, anything we want to let them know about? We have FNL coming up Friday, right?
Yep. So we'll have a lot more live streams on DLC 9 and more information to reveal. So stay followed and stay active on our official channel so you don't miss any.
Mm-hmm.
And this week we have Friday Night Legends. We have a tournament on the PlayStation server for the FNL Tour. So tune in same time, 4 p.m. Pacific on Friday for that.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.